Hi everybody, I'm Colm Dunphy from the Department of Computing and Maths at Waterford Institute of Technology. I'm just making a little video today for those of you that missed the talk I gave on the Technology Enhanced Learning Community of Practice entitled If You Already Use a Data Projector in Class, You're Now Ready for Online. Some background, we've learned quite a lot from delivering in different modes on different programs, the MALT blended learning module, the higher diploma in computer science, which is our first fully online program at WIT. And this year I'm doing some work with the School of Education and Lifelong Learning, and I've spent many years working with the WIT TEL group. So we've got quite a few years of experience on doing this, and what we've learned along the way, we think we've gotten to a stage where we've made it as easy as it can be. If you can use a data projector, we reckon you can actually deliver online now. So I'm going to explore that in this talk. So let's look at what we do when we go to a face-to-face classroom. We're generally using a data projector. Here's a data projector. You've got to power it on, push on the start button. You've got to connect your laptop usually up to the data projector, or you've got a computer in the room already. And we have the usual problems of, have you got the right adapter, the right cable, HDMI versus VGA, and so on. But we normally get over that problem, and then the next issue that we might face is that the data projector is designed for not just classroom use, but multiple uses, and it may have different sources connected to it. For example, a DVD, a camera, your set-top box, and so on. So you've got to change to the right input in order to see the picture on the data projector. And again, we generally manage that every single day of the week. So let's look at what we do when we go online. Well, for the last number of years, we've all thought we had to use a particular piece of software. Adobe Connect kind of cornered the market. Big Blue Button is another alternative. Panopto tried to simplify the process, and we've been using open broadcast software, and it's fantastic, but all of these have different issues. If we want to deliver using recorded videos, a bit like what I'm doing now, then you need something to make a video. And there's lots of different options. Office Mix, which has been out there for a while and no longer with us. Adobe Captivate many years ago and has come back into vogue. Adobe Spark is Adobe's latest offering, with ScreenFlow, Articulate, and Camtasia from TechSmith. And these are all really good tools for building learning videos, if you like. But there's issues with all of these, and the number one complaint I get from working with staff is that the lecturer needs to learn all of these different programs, and they all have cost associated with them. There's restrictions on what you can do if you get the free version, different functionalities. It can be complicated and scary, and also that you get locked into a single solution and then you never break out, so you get tied down. Our new solution is to apply the analogy of the data projector in a face-to-face class to delivering online. So we want to make it easier for the lecturer, simpler user experience. We think we've got there. First thing you've got to do if you want to take this approach is get set up. So you'll contact the CTEL office. Peter Windle is your main contact there, and he's responsible for a lot of the technologies involved in this approach from his experience in online gaming and beauty blogging, believe it or not. Okay, so once you're set up, you can then deliver to your class. If we look at that for recording, let's take a look at what you might do in an ordinary face-to-face class. So your class is timetabled, you prep your class, bring your laptop or keyring or online files, then you power on your PC and log in, you turn on the data projector, use your projector software, and then you load up your presentation or hook up your laptop. You switch the inputs on the data projector using the remote control, and then use whatever you normally use to present. And that could be PowerPoint usually. You might be demoing some software, giving a demonstration with whatever tools you're using. You may use screen annotation tools. Whatever it is you normally present with, that's what you normally do in a face-to-face class. And what we're saying now is that you can use that approach to delivering online. So if we compare all of these 8 steps and look at what we can do next, in online, there's only 2 changes. We need to book a slot because it's not automatically timetabled, and then we need to use this new thing called a stream deck. So the extra bit that's involved is you press record to start and you press record to finish. Do everything the same, but just pressing record to start, record to finish, and what you'll end up with is a movie in your videos folder. If we look at how to do a class then live, we could go through the exact same procedures we do with face-to-face. Similarly, we again need to book a slot in the FTG pod from CTEL and then use our stream deck again. Should mention that if you had trouble when you were doing your face-to-face class, you would contact Ed Services. Now when we're online, if you have trouble, you're going to contact the CTEL office. So then we get down to delivering your class live. What are the extra bits? Well, if you're going to be live, you're going to be sharing this video live online, you need somewhere for that event to be hosted. And we're using YouTube Live. So we're already after getting you set up initially with YouTube. And what you've got to do for every class is you just got to create an event. And we've taken all the hard work out of this. We can just copy an existing event, and you've got to make 3 changes. You've got to specify the name of the event. So it might be week 3, class 2. You've got a start date and time. You've got a finish date and time. And once you specify those, your event is created. Currently, we have to copy and paste a key into a program, but that's about to disappear. So for you, once you've set up your event, when you want to go live, you press the stream button to start. Press the stream button again when you're finished, and this saves to your YouTube channel. And the advantage is that once you finish your live event, that's also now a playback video that anybody can use anytime. So I mentioned 2 things, pods and stream deck. Let's take a look at the pods. We spent a couple of years getting to the point where we're at. Probably should have done it quicker, but this is where we're at. Video studios, right? And really the pods are just video studios. Originally we started in our own offices. Excuse the mess you can see on the left, but despite the mess, it produced not a bad picture on the right hand side. So this is an example of us going live from that office, believe it or not. But that's no way to continue, especially in a shared office. What made it work was using soft boxes and the pull-ups that you see in the background. Then we moved on to a dedicated room, nothing special, just an office with a pull-up background and then a dedicated computer for doing this. But you can see the picture is not so good without the softbox. The softbox is lighting. So at that stage, I decided to work from home, set up a studio at home. I had a music studio already, so I used that as a background. And you can see with the lighting, it definitely creates a better picture. If we look down here on the bottom right, you can see the setup that was actually used to create that, which is quite a mess. But the mess that you see in the room is not what gets projected on the screen. So here's our pod version 1 in FTG 08. We moved to using a green screen, so we have a green background, and we now have that softbox lighting, which we used LED softboxes to achieve. And with the introduction of OBS software, we can now create this green screen look that you see here. So where are the FTG pods? They're in the Flexible Teaching Building on the main campus in WIT, which you can get from Google Maps, which is what this is, just around the corner from the CTEL office. You can see FTG 08 on Google Maps. That's now been updated. We've taken the room next door and split it in two, and we now have pod 1, 2 and 3. So here is pod 3. Welcome inside. And you can see the setup that we're using. So we've tried to reduce cost while maintaining quality. So you can see our LED panels, which were quite expensive, have been changed out for this Beauty Bloggers light, which is a lot less expensive. We're now using a webcam, a specific webcam, after extensive testing. We're also using a microphone. Again, we tested many microphones and sound cards, and we settled on this one. It's got a shock mount to prevent any rumble from the desk. Likewise, the webcam is now on a separate stand away from the desk, so if you move your desk, the camera doesn't shake. All small things like this. And here's the Stream Deck down here, and you can also see I brought in my own laptop. And then we've got 2 screens, and on the 2 screens on the right hand side is what you might want to share with the audience, and on the left hand side is just a monitoring system, so we can monitor chat using a Slack program. We've got some presenter notes, and then what is actually being delivered online right now. So here's the lecturer's view of the same setup, and here's an example of what's on my laptop is what I want to broadcast, but this is what's actually going out. So you can see I've got bugs, we call them, so icons to represent the module, which is the cog for programming. Got the WIT logo now superimposed on everything I do, and then down in the bottom corner I'm superimposed green screened onto my slides. What makes this a good user experience for the lecturer is this tool here called the Elgato Stream Deck, and this replaces your data projector remote control. It's 15 buttons. Each button is really a screen, and it lights up. You can put your own pictures on it and decide what it does. And what we've done is we've configured this Stream Deck to work with OBS software so that the lecturer doesn't have to learn it. So all you need to do is come in, sit down, and then you've got buttons across the top which will decide the different views that the lecturer sees, and then a couple of buttons for starting and stopping a stream, starting and stopping a recording, and also turning on and off your microphone. So this is the working version. No nice graphics just yet for today, but very functional. So you can see this is the Stream Deck. We've got buttons across the top for the different views that are sent out to the stream or the recording. We've got buttons to turn on and off the logos. I've got a stream button, a microphone button, and a record button. So at the moment, this is it's got PC screen 2 lit up, and what that means is you're going to see what's on the second screen, which I'm indicating here. Again, if I press the head button, now it just goes to me with the WIT logo. If I switch to laptop, it's what's on my laptop with the logos superimposed. If I go to laptop and me, it's what's on my laptop with me superimposed in the bottom right corner. And then I've got an emergency screen. In case anything goes wrong, I can just go to a blank screen with the WIT logo on it. Now for recording, it couldn't be easier. We said you come in, you get your presentation ready, whether that's on a keyring or on a laptop. You press the record button, and when you finish your presentation, you press record again, and the video gets stored in your videos folder.
Hello all people, they're good people in the community of practice.
So this is where they are?
Yeah. Looking at you now, sorry I was ignoring you there for a minute. Just testing this with Colin, getting a run through, very impressive, really, it's very good.
So we brought Aidan in for a little tour of the studio yesterday, and just made him sit down, press the record button, and that's what he did. And you can see there was literally nothing to it. Okay, you don't have to worry about how green screen works. You just sit down and it's used. So when it comes to streaming, we said you've got to set up your events first. So you can see all of the events on the right hand side that we just set up inside of YouTube. And that can be quite complicated. So we've simplified the whole process down to just creating a new live event from one of these existing ones. And you change the title, the start date and the end date and time. So I gave my colleague Eamon, who's actually delivering a class using all of this technology, not from the college, but actually from his house, because he's replicated the setup at home. So he's able to deliver his classes at home, and he's live in class at the moment. Let's give Eamon a little tinkle.
You've probably seen that in action in any page that has animations or is interactive.
So there is a delay when you're broadcasting live. Broadcasting live from home is going to have a longer delay than in the college because the broadband is better.
I'm just getting a message here from my colleague. So I'll be switching over shortly to just to say hello to some colleagues who are looking in on our class here. They're conducting a seminar, I think, on the technology we're using in this course. And I said I'd just say hello to them for a few seconds. Okay, they'll probably call me in a second and then I'll say hello. I think they're live now, in fact, so hope you can all hear me out there in the boardroom. The Commuter practice seminar is live, I think. Delivering a class here in a studio very like the one that the lads have been talking to you about today, designed by the lads, in fact. So I have the green screen and cameras and mics and so on. My one is set up at home. It's not in the studio in the college. My bandwidth is reasonable. It's 20-25 megs down, 6 megs up, so it's not super fast, but it works perfectly fine. I'd like to thank the guys for inviting me in and for helping me set up this, which is great. And now I'll go back to my class and I'll leave you back to your seminar. So talk later.
So there you go. You get an idea of what it's like for a live class. So very similar to what you're seeing here, but that's live streamed. Okay, thanks, Eamon. So what happens then in our environment? We're using this Tutors TS open source system for developing all our materials online. So this is the look of the website, and what happens is your live event appears as a video even though the video hasn't been created yet. So it just appears as an embedded YouTube video, and if you press play on it, you'll see at the bottom it tells you that this is a live event and it's going live in 4 days. Okay, so this is my setup for next week. My class, although it hasn't happened already, the interface is that the students will go to the website like they normally do. They're expecting to see a video. The video hasn't been created yet. It's a live event, and if they return in 4 days, they can actually take part live in the class. And if they can't make the live class, that then reverts to the recorded version of that class afterwards, which is quite cool. And it removes a number of steps in having to share links and logins and all the rest. The user experience for the student is press play, so it can be easier. So they can also subscribe to your YouTube channel if people use YouTube a lot, and every time there's a new video available, then that's going to pop up if you've subscribed to the channel. We're using a channel between myself and Eamon. We're delivering 2 modules here, and you can see all the videos that we've created already for this year's course. We've also started highlighting ones, for example, these ones with the red triangles in the bottom left. These are there because we've produced an additional video. If we find that we're getting a lot of feedback from the students where they're having trouble with a particular topic, I'll go make an extra video, and just to make it stand out, we'll put this red triangle in the bottom corner. And the reason it's in the left corner, if it's in the right corner, it gets hidden by the time of the video. So we've learnt by doing. Okay, so streaming playback videos. So for example, we could take a look at this week's class, which are already after being created. Let me just make that a bit bigger. So here's our interface to the module for programming fundamentals. If we take a look at week 3, this was the classes that we did this week. So you can see the layout in tutors is you've got a talk or a class. The materials for the class are underneath it. Then here's the next class with the materials underneath it. The point is that this is the layout whether the class has happened or not. We only release the classes week by week, so as not to overwhelm the students. So if we just take a look at this video, the one should be an I there, I would imagine as well. So here's an example where we used, if we look at this, I used a Socrative poll. Socrative, I should say. It's another tool we're using in class for interacting during the video. So I'm running, I may present some notes and then ask the students to participate. I posed a question. I said I wanted them to draw 6 eyes using a loop, and these were the answers that they gave me. And now I can go back in and see what kind of mistakes they're making and highlight, because we learn by making mistakes. So we highlight the mistakes. What's nice is you can't see the students' names. Now if I need to see that, I could show their names. I could also hide the answers and so on. It is really, really nice. Some other things, if we just scroll through the video. So here's the start of the video. So you can see we're doing an introduction, we're doing some slides. I'm just skipping through just to highlight a few things. Some annotations, so we're actually drawing on the slides here. And over here is the definition. So it's not just the slides. We just fast forward a bit. These are called parameters. Okay. Yeah. And here's an example. Print out 6 eyes using a for loop. Just changing the screen. Here's an example here of, because I've set up the size to be 800 by 800. Here I'm able to demonstrate, so instead of just running slides, I'm actually demonstrating what we're trying to teach, which is I'm demonstrating the software program that they're learning, so which in this case is processing. So I'm running a live demo and seeing the output. So the videos aren't just, sit back and snooze and watch the video. There's quite a bit to them. Okay, so maybe we'll just switch back. That gives you a flavour. Now, some other things to consider when you're delivering online. We have eyeballing the students, so you want to stare into the camera wherever possible. If I can demonstrate, it's not very good if I'm doing this and I'm talking to you. I need to talk to you, so I talk to you by looking straight at you. Okay, so that's one of the things we have to get used to in delivering online, is wherever possible you need to stare right at the camera. Also communicating with students, we use Slack, but you might decide to use YouTube chat. You can still use whatever tools you already use. The presentation platform, you could just stick with YouTube. You could use Moodle and embed your videos in Moodle. And your live events, you can also use blogs, websites. We use Tutors TS to get the particular look that we're using. And my colleague Eamon, that you heard during the class, actually developed Tutors TS and is available as an open source product online for free. Now, supporting online is very, very time consuming, and to try and head off the questions I'm going to get about hours, I'm just not going to discuss that here, because you'll never get enough time. You got to come up with something that works, and it needs to evolve, because nobody knows what the answer is for allocations and so on just yet. In relation to levels of quality, I'll be presenting another paper with Eamon later in the year, where we're going to try and identify cost, time, quality, and we'll come back to you with that. And then last thing is, this year we're trying something new. We have a retention initiative. We're using Socrative, which you saw me demonstrate, and what we're doing is taking the answers to quizzes, and where we're seeing the wrong answers, they show up in red. We pass those on to our tutors, who then follow up. And if we don't see answers at all, then that's a different type of follow-up. So we're actually very, very hands-on now in trying to keep everybody on side on the course. So that's it. That's my talk on if you're already using a data projector in class. I'm just changing the title slightly at the end. What's stopping you delivering online? You can see you can do it now. And what I would ask you to do, or what I did ask the community of practice to do during the talk, was to go to socrative.com, room C Dunphy, and take an exit poll, which will ask you questions and give you an experience of using Socrative. That poll is now closed. Thanks very much.